live. We're on.
Yeah, we're on.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody. This is ACDC, Araceli and Colette, the Dynamic Change. My name is Araceli, and I'm a transition wealth advisor, helping single professional women to rearrange their finances so they can come out on top and they take charge of who they are and get more things done. And reduce the stress, which is really one of the things that money or lack of money really can cause for people. And I am here with my partner, Colette. Colette, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited. It's spring market. It's this crazy time of the year for me. Sorry, let me introduce myself. My name is Colette Rava, as you can see by my little thing there. I am a real estate broker in the GTA. I like to work GTA West, which means Etobicoke, Mississauga, Brampton, Milton, even Oakville and Burlington. It's a crazy market right now. If you have any interest in buying or selling right now, this is why we do the show. We love to hear your questions. We love to answer your questions and give you the best advice, not just for Araceli likes to work with single professional women just because that's her forte. For me, it's a little bit different. I like to work with everybody, but not everybody. So it's a little tricky. But anyway, whoever you are, if you're ready to buy or if you're ready to sell, or even if you're not quite sure, this is why we do the show, is to answer your questions. So today we have something very, very exciting. We get this question all the time, or actually these two questions all the time, which the one is, what does no money down and how can I buy a house with no money down? You know, the one thing that before we even start, Araceli and I know there is, if it's too good to be true, you know, there's something wrong.
Absolutely. And the reason we want to really explain what you're going to hear, if you've seen things like that it says buy with no money down. Colette and I both are real estate investors. I have been investing for a long time, and Colette as well. And so far, I've never bought anything with no money down.
Well, that's so it's a misconception too. People who are doing these courses and charging like $5,000, $10,000 a course makes us crazy, because we think, why aren't you taking that money and putting it towards a house? Why are you spending the money on, you know, if you have the proper information, there's no magic pill. So what they're really saying, when in general, when it said they say no money down, is they want you to take the money, get it from somebody else. That's generally, it's not your own money. They want you to. So we have a few, I don't know what we're going to do, 5 today.
So the first thing that I just want to explain, Colette, here is that any transaction that you do in real estate requires money. Okay. Yes. Where that money comes from, it has those are different techniques for you to buy it. But there is no such a thing as buy with no money there. It's not your money. However, when I explain to you some of the ones that a lot of people or a lot of courses will tell you that you can do, and what it actually means to you, and how much it's actually going to cost you, because it does have a cost associated with it.
Yes, okay? What Araceli is saying, the word, the phrase "no money down" is impossible. So whoever gives you the money or the way you get the money, there is still money, because in law, if you are purchasing something, anything, there has to be a transaction. So if I sell you this, I need something in return, or there's no
consideration, I think it's called.
Exactly, right. So the consideration is very, very important. So if I say, hey, Araceli, will you buy this from me? And even if you say, yeah, I'll buy it for a banana, whatever it is.
You still have to give, I have to give you something.
Right, there's give and take. So that's why when you say no money down, what are you going to give them in return? What is it? A banana? It doesn't make any sense. So that's the thing when you really look at Law 101. This is a very standard thing. So even the concept of no money down is impossible unless there's somebody who's willing to give you a house, which I really don't know.
Yeah, well, that could be the case, but it is not the norm. It's not a technique. You know, if you want to give a house to your child, that's probably good. Maybe somebody that is a relative of yours that has no heirs, that they like you very much, they will give you a house.
Of course.
very, very rare. It's not a technique that is used, right?
Exactly, right. We're not talking about inheritance. We're talking about you and a stranger or the property, and there's two parties and a property in the middle. So how do you purchase it? It's a purchase. No matter how you slice it, it's a purchase. It's not a, here you go, here's house. If you know of anybody like that, please let me know. I would love to take their house.
Oh, absolutely. Me too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what, so when we want to sort of break down the myth of when you see these courses come up to say, you don't need any money to buy a house. We want to give you a little bit of an explanation based on the concepts that they're trying to sell you on. Of course, these people are also trying to sell you a program. So that's where they're making money. Always think of that as well. And if there's value in that, then go for it. If they're going to give you some kind of magic pill to, purchase a property, or if it's just information is not free either. Like we do this show, but we're giving you very small, just a taste of what the concepts mean. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So tell us, what is the first technique to buy with no money down?
So the thing that really makes the most, and this is the thing too, some of the ones that we believe in are the ones that make the most sense, and the ones that are really real, that they're possible. So the first thing is, there's a principle, the easiest thing, if you already own a property, there's two things that you can do. Number one, to have it into an income property, you can take a portion of the house and rent it to someone, and then it becomes an income producing property. That really doesn't require more money other than you fixing it up, putting a separate entrance in, but it's your principal residence. You're still living there. Yeah. So technically speaking, a lot of people do this. It's possible, no money down, but you're not purchasing. You've already purchased. You already have
that. Yeah, you already have purchased the property. You already put money down, and it's costing you every month to pay the mortgage.
Right. So it's the terminology changes when you are producing an income by renting a portion of your house. That's really what, to have some kind of a connection between the two things. The second thing is also a HELOC. So that stands for Home Equity Line of Credit. So let's say I own a house. My house is $1 million, just to make the math easy. The bank says, okay, well, you still owe $500,000 on this $1 million. Okay, fine. So now out of the $500,000, they take it away. And then what's left that you've actually, so I actually owe half, I owe half of it to the bank, and I own half of it, of my actual house. Let's say if it's worth $1 million. So out of that, I can borrow up to 80% of the value of the house. So if I want to buy a property, let's say that is under $500,000 in this case, minus 80, so 80% of the 500,000, not of the million. So what's the math on that, Araceli? You're the math lady.
Well, the way that it works is if your house is $1 million, you can take up to 80% of the fair market value
of the total.
Yeah, so it is 800,000, and this is obviously for easy math, right? So if you owe 500, you can actually take a line of credit for 300,000.
Right. That's
right. How it would work, and then you can take that money and put a down payment in another property or something.
Or even buy a property that's only 300. So let's say a condo is $300,000. And you want to buy it outright, you can do that. So, and it's up to 80%. And that's not always the case. Sometimes the banks say, we've changed the rules. You can only borrow 75%.
Exactly. And this is for easy math, right?
Yes. And this is a general, overall, if you are a good, if this is something that the bank is even offering you, this is something you have to go directly to your lender to say, hey, is this possible? Can I get a HELOC? So we're just talking general, what a HELOC means.
So there is a lot of things that are involved in doing this. First of all, what is your credit?
Right.
And believe me, this is not free money, right?
Well, this is right, exactly. So we go back to no money down. It's still money. It's still money out of your pocket.
So it's either you take the line of credit that you also need to qualify for, make sure that you principal property, it's up to par and that you can borrow that much money. In some cases, like in 300, I still doubt that you can buy something for 300, but let's say you can,
maybe,
right?
maybe far out in like
Yeah.
Sudbury.
So you may not have a mortgage payment on the 300,000, but you have a $300,000 payment on your line of credit.
And how do you pay it? Not with bananas. But
Yes,
with money.
exactly. And the reason that I want to emphasize this is because it all goes back to your financial position.
Right.
Can you do it, right? Now, if you're going to borrow this from somebody else, somebody else that already has qualified for a line of credit, guess what they want? They're going to say, okay, my line of credit is a very affordable. It has maybe 3%, but I'm going to charge you an extra 5 or 6 or maybe 7% more. So
Right.
I can make some money out of it.
Yeah. Well, that's very much like our next one, which is a vendor take back. So let's just say you don't have a property, you are going to buy a brand new property, and the seller and you have had a conversation to say, hey, listen, if I go to a B lender, I'm going to have to pay $15,000. Like, you don't have to tell them this, but say, I can't quite, I'm self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I don't make enough money to get an A lender. I have to go to a B lender. If I go to a B lender, my interest rate is going to be 8%, let's say. I'm going to have to pay $10,000 just to get the loan. And this is only a 1-year kind of contract, Would you be interested in a vendor take back? So a vendor take back means the seller can either give you their mortgage. So let's say they already have a current mortgage that is 2%. And they say, yes, that you are just going to assume the mortgage, but you are also going to pay them a fee.
The rest of the money. Yeah.
Let's say another 3%. So you're still looking better than a B lender. You still have 5%. Of course, there's huge legal, that it's such a legally binding document. You have to be very careful. The other way you can do it is so there's also assuming that the existing mortgage, but also something like a rent to own situation where you are paying the owner X number of dollars a month, they still stay on title. So if you ever default, it's still their property. You are just like a tenant, you have to move out. So it's, again, very, very legally binding. You have to be very careful about that. But if you're talking about no money down, of course you can do that. There's still money. I'm sorry. I don't see it. I don't see how it could be possible with no money.
Exactly. And the thing is, remember, if you are involved in a transaction, whether you are the person in the middle, which sometimes they call it wholesalers, you find a property that is in really good shape.
Don't get me started about
I know. But like, my point here is that you have to have skin in the game.
Okay, so let's talk about wholesaling, shall we?
Yeah, sure.
Because really, it makes me nuts. It really makes me nuts. And this actually happened in BC, I think 2017. It was really.
Yeah, that was awful there. Yeah,
it was a really hard time. And then, of course, Ontario laws changed because of it. Mm-hmm. So when you think of the law in Ontario, we have very, very strict laws. So we're not talking across the board. In the US, wholesaling is huge in the US. That's something that,
and even in the US, Colette, I tell you, I bought in the US, and in some states, you're not allowed to do it.
Okay, so let's tell you what wholesaling is. So wholesaling happens a lot in the sense of when you buy something from, let's say a condo, right from the developer. So you can call this wholesaling because it's similar. It's a very similar kind of overview. So let's say I go to the developer and I buy a condo for, let's say, $500,000. Before it closes, I assign the sale. This is the lingo too. If you need more information on the lingo, we're here to answer those questions. So assigning means I'm going to sell it to another party before my closing date. So I don't actually take possession. So that you can it's possible to do that on a detached home or semi-detached home. But the other thing too is now you're going to have to, so let's say you have a 60-day closing. Who is going to, you don't think that sellers know what their house is worth? So you're going to buy a already built house. and you want to assign it to someone else. So you have to find another buyer in the time frame of the 60 days that you have before closing. It's very legally binding as well. You have to make sure you have that in your agreement first, that if you sell the house before closing, that's okay with the original seller. So in BC, that was happening over and over and over. And then it was really, to find someone who doesn't know the value of their home currently is pretty slim to begin with. It's a little shady too, if you don't mind me saying that. Why? It's slimy. It's slimy to do that. So in theory, it's possible to do it. It's a lot of work. You have to know what you're doing. You have to be able to write those contracts. And there's still money involved because you have to offer the seller a deposit, and you also have to pay a lawyer his fees to do all this work to make it legally binding. So how is that no money down?
Yeah, I don't get it. As I said, you always have to have skin in the game. And that means having some money, all the money, or be able to afford payments to either the buyer, the seller, or somebody that is lending you the money. And it all comes down to financial position. Like, we'll go back again, right? If you're not able to sustain whatever you have today, how are you going to be able to add another payment to the mix?
Right. And the funny thing too about wholesaling, what happens if you can't sell it?
Exactly.
In 60 days?
In some cases, you are actually sued because you're not able to close on it. And then what do you do then?
They keep your deposit. That's what happens. So you're going to lose 20,000. So it's very risky. So even if you are magical at doing wholesales, congratulations. That's amazing. Good for you.
Yeah.
But again, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing too, when people say no money down, what is your time worth to do all of this? That's money. My hourly rate, I make a lot of money. I am not going to be fooling around with all of this nonsense because it's not, I have better things to do. When you really think about it, at the end of the day, what are you going to make? How much are you going to make? To some people, maybe $20,000. Is that enough? Is that enough for you? You could easily go and work at McDonald's. I'm sorry. This is such a thing for Araceli and I. We get riled up because we want to keep the people that we care about safe. And all of this sounds great, but when it really comes down to the details, very difficult. All of these ways. So I don't want to talk anybody out of it. I don't want to sound negative, but really, if it's something that, if someone came to me, a friend or a family member came to me, what would you say to them?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, always when I talk to people, and I have many people come to talk to me that they want to get started, and they come with this impossible things that if you're a beginner, don't even go there, right? Like, I actually talked to a lady. Yeah, and let me tell you the story because I couldn't even believe when she was telling me this, right?
Okay, go.
So she came in. We were actually part of a networking group, which does real estate, and they promote the same thing, no money down, get a partner, get this. Maybe you can get a good property at an auction. And I started to ask questions, and she said, well, I want to do some flips. I says, okay, where do you want to do these flips? Oh, I want to do it in the GTA. Okay, so, well, how much money do you have? Well, I don't have any money, because this is the thing. If somebody's telling you that you can buy with no money down, then everybody says, oh, well, I don't have any money. Maybe I can buy the property.
Right.
So anyway, they, make the long story short, she didn't have any money. She owned her own property. She had a basement. I said to her, I says, listen, the easiest way that you can do is rent your basement, right?
Start small.
Start small.
Yeah.
Kind of dip your toe in the water and see if this is for you. Don't go do a flip. A flip is kind of like an advanced thing, right?
Yeah.
And so she had no idea how she was going to borrow the money with other people's money, this is another term that is being used.
Right.
And the question is, you have to ask, whose people?
Right.
Who are these people that are giving you money? Right.
Well, let's talk
possible.
about that.
Yeah, we talk about it in another area. But I tell her that she could rent her basement. And her answer was, Well, I could, but I don't have a side door. And it's way too much money to put that in there. And my answer to her was, you're not meant to do real estate investing because you don't see the value of adding a door to your house for the long term. And this is another thing, guys. Real estate investing, if you don't know what investing means,
The word, yeah, what does the word mean?
exactly. You have to do it over a period of time, which is normally 7 to 10 years in order for you to recover your investment and make some money. So those are the things that people don't understand. They take it lightly, and they take an advertisement as, oh yeah, I can buy with no money down.
Right.
Right. It really does bother me a lot.
That's why we're, you know, I get riled up about it because it's really, it's, you know, that's the thing. It's too good to be true. And if like, this is again, these people are selling you courses. They are making money off of you because it's this thing that people think there's some magical answer that it's possible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it really isn't. But this is the thing with your lady that that owns a property. You have to have a little pain to gain.
Yes.
You know, I hate to say it, we're not working out, we're not building muscle, we're building our financial wealth. And this is the thing that if you need to be a little stressed out, you'll try harder. I'm sorry to break it down like that, but it's true. So even though, let's say me, for example, I did exactly the same thing where I said, you know what, I need a little bit, you know, nobody's in my, everybody's, all my kids are moved out. I have a basement,
Yeah.
nobody's down there. Why not? I'll get my mortgage paid off faster if I have a renter down there. I found a great tenant. Please, please, please. I hope he's great. He just moved in on Sunday. I'm very, very happy. And this is the thing. And he's very happy too. So it also, you
But
have
but did you have to do something? Did you have to spend some money to do this?
Of course I had to spend some money. But even like the other thing too is when you look at the fear of having a tenant and having a stranger living in your house, I can understand the fear. I get it because you don't know who this person is. You don't know that you need liability insurance.
Yeah.
You need content insurance for the tenant needs that. You need to make sure your insurance covers, you know, having a tenant. You have to call your insurance company. There are a lot of legal things that you really need to discuss with the tenant. And having a real estate agent, I help landlords all the time, even for basement apartments, to have them rent a basement apartment in their house. Or if they have, let's say they've converted a house into a basement and a main floor, or, you know, three, even a triplex sometimes, you still need to be very legally safe as a landlord to make sure your tenants are following the rules. They have their own insurance. They know what to do if there is a flood. There are all these things that you want to protect your investment too at the same time. And it's not just no money ever. I'm sorry, never. You need insurance. Insurance, you
Costs
pay
money.
bananas? No. I should have like little banana emojis.
Yeah.
The thing, it's really, there is no such thing as no money down. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Yeah, and we really don't want to come out negative. I think that people need information.
Yes.
Absolutely, you know, I'm big on learning about techniques. How can you do it? But
Right.
think about it logically, and also from your standpoint, from your financial position. Think about what can go wrong and what it would cost you if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Are you able to continue paying, whether your line of credit, this other lender or private lenders, right?
Right.
Are you able to do that? Right.
We want to give you, we want to end on a positive note. It is possible. Absolutely, it is possible to have a property, to have an income property, to build your wealth based on owning properties. It is possible. And please, we are very conservative in our math, in our thinking, in keeping everybody safe. So if you want someone to really guide you in a proper way to keep you safe, and there's always a plan, we always factor in a plan B, sometimes even a plan C. And what I tell even my buyers when they're buying a home for themselves, I say, you think of the end game before you purchase. So do you want to be in this house for 5 years as an investor? Do you want to keep this or do you want to flip it? You have to have the story figured out before you purchase. Otherwise, it's a nightmare. It's a mess. You have to have your end game. I want to get out in 5 years. I want to keep the house forever. I want to flip it in 6 months. We need that answer before you even get started. So if you really have these questions and you're serious about not fooling around, with these courses, please talk to us. This is what we're here for.
So that's great. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, absolutely can be done, but you have to also look at what you want to end up with.
Yes.
And believe me, like if I didn't actually go into real estate, my financial position would be very, very different.
Right.
I'd love to have income from real estate.
Yeah.
Doing flips as well, but it's a totally different techniques. I do really recommend that you read books, that you learn exactly what happened, and not only from one person, but from different people. Talk to people that are already doing it, that they've done it, and get their actual experience. Where the majority of people that do the real estate, they're going to say, oh my God, I made so much money, but they don't really tell you the other side of the story. So you really need to, and we try to give you here things that are realistic that has happened to us, right? So you can, it's not to scare you, but just to prepare you.
Right.
Because
that's it.
You have to be ready for it.
Yeah, there's always a way to figure it out. And there are several different ways to do this. But really, when it comes down to, what you really want to accomplish by doing this, exactly what Araceli said earlier, start small. Don't overextend yourself. This is the financial advice that we both can give you. Don't overextend yourself. If you know that this income, even if you, again, there's this magical formula that you can try to get. Sometimes it doesn't work because there's vacancies too. You have to look into that. There's also bad debt. If somebody doesn't, if you have it right now, laws in Ontario.
A bad tenant too.
Exactly, right. So, and then, what happens if, knock on wood, there's damage to the property, things like that. Are you covered? Who's going to cover it? Does the tenant cover it? Do you? So there's all these things that if you are not meant to be a landlord, you have to answer these questions to say, okay, what kind of investor do I want to be? Do I want to be a silent investor? Do I want to buy a condo and just assign it? How long do I want to do this? How much money do I think I can make from it too? And if you have very high expectations, right there, figure out your numbers first to see if they're even realistic. A lot of these people where they say, oh, look, this is an income property and I'll show you the rents, they omit some things like how much the taxes are a year or how much maintenance is. So these are the questions. If you have a really good financial advisor, if you have a really good real estate agent, when you're looking to really figure out the numbers before you even make an offer, this has to be done. So what else can we say? Any other questions? Let us know.
Just, contact us and tell us if you run into something like this, that they promise no money down. And what is it actually? Did you purchase a program? Did you learn? How satisfied or dissatisfied are you with the information that they gave you? Right. And this is basically, we want to compare notes because I have bought programs, believe me, and every single time I end up being disappointed because what they promise is here, but what they give you is here.
Because
so
reality,
just be aware.
Reality is here.
Yeah, just be aware. That's what this particular show was about. But if you have any particular thing that we didn't discuss today, please let us know.
And guess what? Araceli and I are creating a real plan and a real workshop for you guys out there that are really interested in the truth. So stay tuned for that. We'll announce it when we're ready, but it will be soon, right, Araceli?
Yeah, absolutely. So we want to really help you do something for yourself. We're not just want to sell a program. We want to actually get people to do and buy real estate and retire wealthy. So that's our motto. So thank you very much for watching today. And we are looking forward to see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye.